Warframe is an interesting game in many areas, and manages to excel in pretty much all of them. However, one unusual thing about Warframe is the unique story and the in-depth lore, at least in-depth in that it actually gives it to you. If you've seen my previous video, you know that I stopped playing Warframe a little while ago. However, both during and after my obsessive playing of the game, I wish that the developers had more story and lore quests than just the Second Dream, War Within, and the upcoming Sacrifice, as that aspect of the game is what I enjoy and look forward to the most. While there are quite a few forums online talking about various quest ideas, I didn't see too many talking about main lore and story, especially on YouTube, so I took it upon myself to put my ideas and theories on here and possibly discuss it with the one commenter below. These ideas are not meant for the main storyline, as the apostasy has left things a little too open-ended to predict anything major. Rather, I see them as a way to actively gain a substantial amount of lore through something more interesting than just codex entries. I'll also talk a little about my own theories on these lore subjects as well. Hope you enjoy. Oh, and by the way, spoiler alert. When we fight Alad V on Jupiter, both he and the Lotus talk about how Alad incorporated multiple Warframes into his Zanuka project, most notably Gersemi Valkyr, as it is her Warframe we uncover upon killing him. Most people probably never gave that idea a second thought, but soon after completing the second Dream Quest, I began to wonder about what exactly happened to Valkyr's operator. She probably wouldn't have died, as the destruction of a Warframe doesn't mean death to the operator unless their aura or soul is taken, which is impossible unless Alad had some sentient power at work on his project. Perhaps the sincere belief in being your Warframe has so much power that Valkyr's operator did in fact die when her Warframe was disassembled. In order to make an interesting quest, however, Valkyr's operator would have likely had a rude awakening from the second dream. She would have had no idea what just happened, and would be stuck in the middle of Lua, which would still be in the void, away from the Corpus, Grunir, Sentience, or possibly even the Lotus herself. If Tenno don't have regular bodily needs, she would wander around aimlessly until you arrived, kind of reminiscent of Persona 3 when Fuko was lost in Tartarus for several days before being rescued. However, interacting with an NPC Tenno when the Tenno are all other players is probably something that DE would try to shy away from, instead of leaning towards you, just finding her dead or killed by sentience and having to do with what information she might have found in her wanderings. From what lore we know, it seems that each of the Tenno had a specific Warframe they used in accordance to their interests and personality. Otherwise, the stories of Inaros, Gara, Mirage, and Limbo would make absolutely no sense. Given this, it seems strange that there are in fact multiple of the same Warframe, especially the starter Warframes. Now, I know that Warframe is just a game, and so more than one person can get the same item, but I think DE could actually morph this into a point of lore. Since the Warframes are able to regenerate themselves, the only reason to have more than one of the same Warframe would be if there were other Tenno capable of piloting them. If the Tenno were literally the only thing that barely pushed back the sentience, why didn't the Orcan Empire try to make more Tenno? The Zariman incident seemed to show that young children exposed to the Void seemed to gain strange powers. The Orokin were already using plenty of innocent children as vessels to transfer their consciousness. Why not just take some more and expose them to an alternate dimension and use them as weapons? The only arguments would be that the Tenno pushed back the sentience easily, which doesn't seem possible considering multiple of them lost their lives, or that the Orokin were scared of creating even more already scary Tenno. If these artificial Tenno were used, it would explain the excess of Warframes. However, you would also need to explain away the artificial Tenno and that they all died or something, but perhaps these would be better recipients of NPC interaction from the players than a true Tenno would. Prime weapons and Warframes appear to be ancient and advanced variants of already existing technology, but there isn't much lore explanation about what exactly they are, and what little there is seems to contradict. Some entries seem to say that Prime technology actually came before the regular variants, which were reverse engineered from the somehow unusable old technology. However, this seems to conflict with what lore there is about Prime Warframes. There would be no reason that the Warframes would be reverse engineered, as no one can use them but the Tenno. However, there are some threads of lore that seem to say that Prime Warframes are indeed the originals. Then again, if this was the case, the depictions of Gara and Inaros would make no sense. unless the Tenno abandoned their original Warframes for some unknown reason before being known to the rest of the world. There's actually an interesting idea that this primed technology actually comes from the power of the Void itself. According to the lore, it seems that the Orokin gained some technological insights after the discovery of the Void. This also seems to fall in line with the fact that prime pieces and blueprints can only be obtained from Void relics, which, according to their name, come from the Void. There is also a connection between the primed technology and the enemies the players face in the Void itself, the Corrupted. Corrupted enemies have the same gilded decoration and golden glow that the primed warframes and weapons do, seeming to say that these things are in fact corrupted technology, changed by the Void itself. However, the lack of any substantial evidence leaves the true nature up to another Codex entry, most likely. Before the second dream, the Warframes seemed to be almost nothing but ruthless killing machines, effortlessly massacring countless Grineer and Corpus for seemingly no substantial purpose. However, the reveal of a human self, as well as the intentions of some syndicates seeming to be system-wide peace, it would make sense that some of the Tenno would try to parley with the Grineer or Corpus. If the Tenno are truly trying to establish order in the Origin system, they should learn to be on better terms with the powers that will likely remain for decades to come. The Tenno have already worked with Alad V in the second Dream Quest. Perhaps the Grineer equivalent would be talking with the Kuva Queens, or possibly Queen. As powerful as the Tenno are, they might later need the manpower and resources of the factions to attain some kind of common goal. This would make an interesting quest, as it would seem to go against everything the Tenno have been doing thus far, and would largely be made up of dialogue instead of combat, allowing for more development of your Tenno's moral character. There's not really much to this one. Just add some quests for the Arbiters of Hexus and the Steel Meridian. Hopefully quests to unlock new Warframes in keeping with the others. However, I almost wish DE would have a new, maybe smaller quest for the Red Veil, as Chains of Harrow actually had you going against the mainstream Red Veil belief for most of it. These quests should of course reveal more about the lore of the syndicates. Personally, I found Glassed Gambit the most interesting of the ones so far, as it really revealed the morally upstanding businessman character of the Parents sequence that wasn't clearly shown before. The Arbiter's quest could also potentially reveal more about the Tenno, as they seem to almost worship the old Tenno and the Orokin ways. In some of the harder-to-reach lore, it is revealed that the Warframes, the Sentients, and the Infested are all made out of the same nanomachines, better known as technocytes in-game. This is interesting in that the Infested seem so different from the Warframes and the Sentients. However, this could be made into an interesting quest. The Infested appear very mindless, just consuming everything in their path without thought. Since they are made of nanomachines, it would make sense that they should have some kind of collective intelligence. In fact, Infested Alad V seems to verify this when he says that the infestation thinks. If this is actually so, perhaps a new quest would lead your Tenno in trying to focus the infestation's intelligence into something understandable, perhaps leading to an actual face-to-face conversation, Matrix 3 style. Well, those are some of the ideas that I had for possible future quests in Warframe that I'd like to see. But of course, DE has their hands full, and even if they didn't, they probably would never even see this video, or anything else I make for that matter. Anyway, hope you enjoy the video. See you next time.